like them native foes poking out the side. Jump my deuce up to the sky as I continue to swing real wide. Swing real wide. Swing real wide. Real wide.
So you want to become an expert at shooting dice? Well, this video is going to take you to that next level. So this is part 3 on how to shoot dice. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, I'm going to need you to go to my channel and watch those before continuing this video. Because without that information, it's going to be difficult for you to understand what I'm trying to teach you today. Alright, so the last lesson I'm going to leave you with is called the ass backwards lesson. I'm calling this section ass backwards because 98% of the time it won't happen in the dice game. But that doesn't mean it's impossible to see or do these things. Every now and then you might get some fuckface dressed like Andre 3K come through, want to pull some quirky shit. This is the type of shit he's going to be doing. So you need to be aware of what's going on so you can adapt to these situations. So one thing is betting against yourself as the shooter. So most of the time the shooter is constantly betting what we call the pass line, which is the standard normal way that we all know and love. But every now and then, a shooter will bet the don't pass, which can get a little tricky because he just flipped the whole damn script. A don't pass bet works like this. It's the complete opposite of what we're used to. Okay, so say for example, I'm this goofball ass shooter. I put $20 up, right? Peter Panda decides to match me and put his $20 up. So I call out a don't pass. This is how a don't pass bet works. So on the first roll, if I hit a 2, a 3, or a 12, I automatically win and I keep the dice. Okay, so on the first roll, if I get a 7 or an 11, I automatically lose the money, but I keep the dice. Now keep paying attention. So if I get a point on my first roll, I'm betting that I will 7 out before I hit my point number again. That means I win and I keep the dice. But if I get a point on the first roll and I hit my point, then I lose my money and I will lose my dice. So literally all the stipulations are flipped upside down for this don't pass. So let's see what happens. So that's a 6. So my point is a 6. So in order for me to win on this don't pass, I have to 7 out before I get my 6 again. Oh, that's a 6. So I lost. I was able to get my point before I 7'd out. So I lose my money and I lose the dice. So this money goes to Peter Panda. He won. And that's how a don't pass bet works. Alright, so let me show you another quick example of how a don't pass bet works. Okay, so say I put my money up. Gengar wants to match me. So he puts his money up. I'm the shooter. So this is for a don't pass bet. So that's a 3. So I rolled a 3 on my first roll. So that's an automatic win for me. I take the money and I get the dice back. And we do it again. Let's do another don't pass. So who wants to match my 20? Tommy says he wants some action. He's going to match my 20. Let's go. So I hit a 7 on my first roll. That's an automatic loss. So that means Tommy gets the money. So Tommy gets the money, but I keep the dice. So I put $20 back up there, and Peter Panda decides he wants to fade me. So this is still, we're betting don't pass. We're betting another don't pass. So that's a 4. So I have to 7 out before I hit a 4 again in order for me to win. So let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can 7 out. That's a 3. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 6. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 10. That doesn't mean nothing. So I'm looking to 7 out. That's an 8. Okay, so that's a 7. So that means I 7'd out. So I win this bet. And I keep the dice. So those are the different ways to play the don't pass. Just make sure that you distinguish that you have a don't pass bet, because everybody's going to assume that you're playing a standard bet, which is a pass line, if you don't make this clear. Make this clear before you start rolling and before you accept wagers. Okay, so let's learn about some more ass backwards type shit. So every now and then you get this dumbass shooter who wants to call a side bet before the point is even established. So can he do this? Well, technically, yes, he can do this, but that doesn't mean you have to accept this bet. You can easily decline this bet. But if you just don't give a fuck and you're just taking bets all day and you just feel invincible and you could take any bet you want, go for it. This is how it's gonna look. So, say I put my money up, the opponent matches me. I don't have no initial point bet. We're only gonna bet on a side bet. So the only bet we have going is a side bet. So let's say it's for a 10-4. So the craps now become 7 and 11. So if I hit 7 and 11, then I crap out. But if I hit a 10 or a 4, then I win my money. And that's just how it works. So let's see what happens. So that's an 8. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 7. That means I lose. So this money goes to the opponent because I lost. I got a 7, which is craps for a 10-4 side bet. So let's do another quick example of betting on a side bet before your initial point bet. Which, like I said, is very rare. But in rare cases, it may be a good opportunity to make some money. So I put my money up and say, opponent matches me. So this is for a side bet without an established point. So let's say we call out the side bet as 6-8. We both agree to a 6-8 side bet. So let's see what happens. That's a 9. That doesn't mean nothing. I have to hit a 6 or an 8 to win this. So that's an 8. So that means I win this side bet, and that's the end of the story. So I'm going to get the dice back, and we're going to keep on betting. Alright, so you got this quirky ass, lame ass dude who just keeps doing this dumb ass backwards type shit. So he decides he wants to call for a come or a don't come bet before you even establish a point. So again, technically you can do this, but it's just not normal. But if you feel like taking this, let me show you what a come bet looks like before you establish a point. So it's kind of the same idea. So basically you just ignore the entire point system and you just bet on a come bet. So say I do a come 6 bet, right? So I'm betting that the 6 will come before I 7 out. So let's see how this goes. So my craps for this bet is a 7. But if I hit a 6 before I hit a 7, then I win. If I'm not able to do that, then the opponent wins. So let's see what happens. I'm looking for a 6. That's an 8. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 3. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 6. So that means I would have won my come 6 bet because the 6 came before the 7. So I win this money. Let me show you another example. Alright, so instead of calling for a come bet before a point, let's call for a don't come bet before a point. So, before your initial point is established, say I put $40 up for a don't come bet, right? So say I'm going to bet don't come 8. So that means whoever wants to take this don't come 8 will match the money that I put up. So say Gengar wants to take a don't come 8 bet. Okay, so he puts his money up, he matches me. So a don't come 8 bet means that I will 7 out before I hit my 8. So I'm betting that I will hit a 7 before I hit an 8, and I win. If I hit an 8 before I hit a 7, then Gengar wins his money. So that's a 7. So that means I win because my 8 did not come. So I was right and I win the money. Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to teach you is how to bet against yourself on side bets if you're the shooter. So the majority of the time when someone calls out a side bet like 5-9, 6-8, 10-4, they verbally will just yell out this pair of numbers. And it's universally known that they are implying that the shooter will hit 5-9, 6-8, or 10-4. And the opponent will win by the shooter crapping out. But it is possible to side bet against yourself. So this is how that looks. So say I put my money up for the initial bet. Peter Panda matches me for the point bet. So we got one bet going. So that's a 9. So Tommy might call out 5-9 as a side bet. And I reply to him, bet I don't hit 5'9". And he's like, what? What do you mean? I was like, so I said it again. I was like, I bet I don't hit 5'9". And he's like, oh, okay. So you're betting that you won't hit 5'9". So basically, me and him just switched positions on how a side bet is normally done. So instead of me winning when I hit 5'9", I'm going to win when I crap out or if I 7 out and I'm not able to hit 5'9". And he's going to win if I hit a 5 or if I hit a 9. So let's see what happens. All right, so I put $20 up. He's going to match me and put $20 up. So now my point is a 9, and I bet that I won't hit a 5'9" for a side bet. So let's see what happens. So that's a 6. That doesn't mean nothing. That's an 8. That doesn't mean nothing. That's a 9. So I hit a 9. So since I bet that I wouldn't hit a 5'9" and I hit a 9, I lose this side bet money to Tommy. But since that was my point, I win my initial point bet money over here. Alright, so let me show y'all again. So this is how you bet against yourself on a side bet. So say I put $10 up for the initial point bet. Peter Panda always down to match. So he puts $10 up, matches for the initial point bet. So let's get to rolling. So that's a 4. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So my point is a 4. So that's a 6. So Gengar might call out for a 6-8 side bet. He's like, oh, 6-8, 6-8. I'm like, well, I bet I don't hit a 6-8. And he's like, what? What you mean? I was like, you heard me. I was like, I bet I don't hit a 6-8. So he's like, okay. So that means I win when I crap out for this 6-8 side bet. And he wins if I hit a 6 or an 8. So let's see what happens. So I put my money up. I put $40 up because I feel confident. And he matches me. He's like, all right, cool. He's going to match me, put his $40 up, and we're going to see what happens. Boom. So that's a 7. So that means I win this side bet because I 7'd out before I was able to hit a 6 or an 8. And 7 is a craps for 6-8 side bet. So I win this because I'm betting against myself. But I lose this initial point bet to Peter Panda because I 7'd out. So I 7'd out for the point that I had, and he wins that initial point bet. So that's how that works. So betting against yourself does get tricky. So just remember all the numbers that are in play. Don't forget those, and you should be fine.
It ain't nothing like them native foes poking out the side. Jump my deuce up to the sky as I continue to swing.